Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you.
But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you.
It's strictly up to you.
Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you.
It's strictly up to you.
And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome, welcome, welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley. Why don't I fix my headset here? No, what? Gee, that sounds so much better. Part of the Lehigh Valley in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, Western Hemisphere, North American continent, very crooked glasses. On this planet Earth, the only one we have, third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. Let me make sure this is turned down or else you're all going to hear it. No, it is. Okay, I did that right. Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This. Oh gosh. This is TKE tonight for the well, that's interesting. Mike, thank you for telling me that, because I know you're the first person to mention it. Gotta be honest with you. Part of the Milky Way galaxy, this Terran solar system Milky Way galaxy is TKE tonight for the 25th of February, 2024. So Mike mentioned something very, very interesting. He's telling me that everything on his end is backward. However, when I watch on YouTube and when I watch on oh yeah, I guess it is backward. How about that? Well, that's something. I'm not sure I knew that. Thank you for telling me that, Mike. I will see if I can fix that. How have none of you told me this? My goodness, I can't stand it. I count on you for these things. HD. Is that better? No, it's not. Turn the mirror off. I think that might have done it. I think that did it. I think I fixed it. And Mike wondered if I was making a statement. No, I don't. No, I was not making a statement. I think I fixed it on the fly. No, not making a statement. Making a statement would imply that I was somehow using my brain. I don't do that too much. So don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. No, not nearly using my brain. How is everyone doing this evening? How are you? How are you? How are you? Good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. Great to see all of you here back with us for a Tuesday, February the 25th, he said. Great to be back with you. Yeah, I guess I did fix it. Thank you, Mike. I think it's been that way since I started with this new computer and new version of the software. I think that's news to me. So thanks. I appreciate you telling me that. Because I didn't know. I honestly didn't. Even though it's right in front of me, well, I didn't notice. Honestly didn't notice. Hey, look. This is a very homegrown effort, for lack of a better term. And sometimes we get things wrong. And if you've noticed anyway, well, you've all noticed because I don't shut up about it, the amount of technical problems that we have had is just staggering. So, the new computer has been brilliant. It really has. I kind of thought it was going to work. And it has so far, and I've been really, really excited. I'm not a fan of this software, I can tell you that. As soon as GCPR can get the video software, I should say, means infinitely less to Hot 101, but it does mean a lot to GCPR, and as soon as we can find something better, I'm going to be quite happy. And I want to say a special hello to Tea Time, a new name that I don't recognize, but that doesn't mean anything. Who's actually in the YouTube chat, which is awesome. So since we mentioned YouTube, why don't we get through the business end of the program? This is TKE tonight for the 25th of February 2025. By the way, it felt like spring today here in the Lehigh Valley. We broke 50 degrees. I think it may have gotten to 53 or 54 at some point. And I think the only reason it didn't get to 60 is because eventually it got cloudy and the sun was blocked out by the clouds, or I think it may have gotten, or possibly would have gotten warmer. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of all of the following: Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, OWR. What am I talking about? OUR Revolution, Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, the TCP Media Group, Ghost Claw Productions, and Hot101.net. And of course, we are live on our home group Facebook page for all things that surround our program, That Other Side of Information. We are now live on 2 YouTube channels because, gosh darn it, one's not enough for this greedy person sitting in front of you. We are live on the YouTube channel, our original YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information, same name as our Facebook group. And we are also live on the YouTube channel of Ghost Claw Productions Radio. The audio of the program blasts around the globe via 2 global internet giants, dare I say, Hot101.net, one of the very first global internet radio stations, Hot101.net. That is our web address. You can listen there for free on any type of device that can connect to the internet: desktops, laptops, tablets, phones, Bluetooth it to speakers, earbuds, headphones, Bluetooth it in the car, Bluetooth it in the shower. And you sing along, you know it. You can also tell Alexa to play Hot101.net, and you can listen through either of our free apps: Apple App Store for Apple devices, Google Play Store for Android devices, and the TuneIn radio app for all types of devices. For TuneIn, just go up to the search bar, type in Hot101.net, and you are listening. For Apple and Android, download it for free, open it, you are listening. No money, no login. It's there for you and for free. GCPR.live is our new global internet radio station, the station that I am humbled to be co-owner in. gcpr.live, ghostclawproductionsradio.live. You can listen to us at our website, www.gcpr.live. Listen there for free, but also read up on our entire broadcast family and broadcast schedule, as well as learn about the shows. And you can, as I said, you can listen there for free. We also have a fully functional Android app, thanks to Gilbert, who is diligently working on an Apple app as well. www.gcpr.live. Programming, as always, as soon as we are done here at 9 o'clock, the music returns on hot101.net and on gcpr.live. Cold Dead Hands, if I'm not mistaken, follows us. I think I'm right about that. He really should look, said the host, so that he knows what the heck he's talking about. That would be different. No, sorry, Hurricane Girls from 9 p.m. Cold Dead Hands is Monday. It's Tuesday. Hurricane Girls follows us from 9 p.m. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. with Why Wednesday. I think, if I'm correct, it's Why Wednesday for Thomas tomorrow in the morning, with a brand new, fresh, steaming hot pot of the sound of coffee. It sounds so odd and yet funny and childish when I say it, and I think that's why I keep saying it, because it's funny and silly and childish. But then so am I. So, hey. I'm already planning. We will be here Thursday. That's the plan, barring anything unforeseen. I do not yet know if I will be with you Sunday. Kristen and I have some family, I would say family obligations, but I don't mean it that way. It's a bad way to put it. It's not how I mean it. But yeah, we may not be here to be with you. We're going to be spend time with family. Well, let me just put it that way. I don't think I need to make anything any more complicated than that. So I'm not sure exactly yet about Sunday, but I will let you know a little bit more about that on Thursday. I always try to keep you up to date well ahead of time as to what we're up to. This is a family here. The General, by the way, is in the house. I just want to say that, because I don't get to say that every show. Oh, that's a capital U. This is why I shouldn't type when I'm on the radio. General Gambit in the house. That means it's a proper show, and I better get my poop together and do a heck of a show here, because the General is here and will no doubt report to the rest of the station. And I love it. And the salute. Thank goodness. Well, thank you for being here, mate. I'll tell you what. When anyone else from GCPR or Hot 101 or both, when other broadcasters tune into my program, it makes me feel very, very good, and like I'm doing something worth listening to. When other broadcasters listen, it's like when chefs who own restaurants go to other restaurants, you know you're doing something right. So I always think it's really good when any of the other when GCPR hosts or other DJs at 101 are able to tune in and listen to what we're doing. Anyway, we should get to our two big stories of the evening. 8:15 here as we chat with you. I just minimized Facebook for some dumb reason, because that's just not what I was planning to do. Let me arrange this chronologically, and then I can find the two. Okay. I want to start. I have two big main stories that I wanted to get to. Gambit says he's no chef. That would be two of us. I microwaved a bag of rice for dinner, okay? If you count tearing the patch so it doesn't explode, if you count that as cooking, then I cooked. I wouldn't count it as that. Oh, and I should mention that George is away, taking care of family, as he often does. The man does more for his family, his in-laws. He does more for his family than you can possibly imagine. The man is really, he is a better friend than I deserve. I can tell you that. He's a much better man than I. He's a better friend than I deserve. So he is away tonight, taking care of family, as he often is. Don't worry, he'll be back. He's perfectly fine. Hopefully he's monitoring and listening. I hope that he is. But yeah, that's what we're doing with that. So I have two big stories that I really wanted to get. Now, Tea Time mentions in the chat MSNBC. I will get to that if you wish that I speak about it, and you can tell me in the chat if that's why you brought it up, that you want me to speak about it, or you want to interchange about it. That's perfectly fine. We love exchange and interchange. I had two big stories that I wanted to get to tonight. One is a not great one, and then one that kind of falls under the same umbrella that I think provides some hope. And if you were with us on Sunday for our longer program, I think we made it 2.5 hours on Sunday before I just couldn't go any further. And you do want me to talk about MSNBC, I will. In fact, we could start there, I think, so I don't forget about it. A lot of Solid Blue Sister was kind enough to join us on our program on Sunday, and a lot of what we had to talk about was about hope. And what do you, what do you take hope in? Where do you find it? Where do you see hope? And depending, there wasn't a ton of it. But I still, after a real down period of like a month following the election, George and I had a serious chat about whether to keep this show going or not. George and I have been friends for probably 20 years. I think it's 20 years. And we, we're friends, but we don't necessarily want to be in a prison camp together. But I was certainly down, and I didn't know quite what to do and where to go until I kind of got a little bit of stiffness back in my spine. And I don't mean the pain that I'm constantly in, but I mean figurative stiffness in my spine. And returned here to try to fight the good fight, to try to continue to educate, to try to continue to tell you the truth of what's really happening in this country. Obviously, I have my own opinions. I always have my own opinions. This is an opinion program. The difference between this opinion program and the literally the thousands of others is that I'm not lying to you. I'm giving you my opinion, and God knows you don't have to agree with it. But when I read the news to you, I may pontificate on that news. I'm obviously provide commentary about it. But when I read you a news story, I'm reading you a straight news story. I'm not lying to you. And that's the difference. The gentleman, the podcast host, who literally does have millions of listeners, I think it's somewhere in the 3 to 4 million range, that they just made the associate director of the FBI. He lies to people. He's built a career on lying to people. He's become fabulously wealthy doing it. I certainly have not. I wouldn't mind being fabulously wealthy. I'm not stupid. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys a hell of a lot of comfort, and it relieves a hell of a lot of stress, especially in the situation I'm in here at home. But that's but we talk about hope. So there's two big stories that I want to get to. One that is pretty depressing, and one that I think it's also emblematic of what's happening right now, and one that I hope will provide you a bit of hope. 8:20 on TKE tonight here on the 25th of February. Now, Tea Time on the YouTube chat asked me to talk about MSNBC and what's, I assume, the firings and changes of schedule and so on that are happening at MSNBC. I gotta be honest with you, I don't know what the hell's happening there. I don't know what is happening there. Honestly, I really don't. Just for me personally, and I get the sense that this is not a take that you're going to enjoy. So if you're not an MSNBC watcher, if you're not familiar with the story, Joy Reid had her last program last night. She signed off the hour last night. Brought out the staff, said goodbye to everybody. She was very, what feels like suddenly sacked from MSNBC. I suspect, well, you know what? It's being completely reported as a sacking, so it's not just a non-contract renewal. It sounds like she was sacked. So she'll keep getting paid. She's contract. That's not too terrible to sit home, to get paid to sit home and not work. I assume she's a non-compete as well, so I don't know where she'll be going next. I did repost a meme on our home group Facebook page, that other side of information, the pictures of Joy Reid, Tiffany, I'm blanking on her name, and Melissa Harris Perry, about notice the 3 black women have been fired from MSNBC. Alex Wagner has also been removed from a nightly program. She's going to be retained as a reporter, going around the country doing specials. Although I do think the on the road reporting that she does is actually quite extraordinary, especially when she talks to Trump voters and so on. And of course, the other side of the coin is that the people that they're looking to replace Joy Reid would be Simone Sanders, who is a black woman herself. I think they're giving a night each to the 3 hosts of The Weekend. And by the way, if you don't watch The Weekend, I think you should. I think it's actually a really well done program. I think the 3 of them work really well together. But I think each of them is taking a night: Simone Sanders, Michael Steele, and Alicia Menendez. They're looking to hire Eugene Daniels, who is a gay black male. So while I don't know that her firing is entirely race related, it certainly is unmistakable that they have fired every prominent woman of color host that they've had there probably in the last decade, because Melissa Harris Perry goes back a while. I'm sure Joy Reid will be fine. She's incredibly smart. The part of the tea time that you might not enjoy is I didn't like her program. I just didn't like the way she was on TV. Her program not significantly different than the rest of the primetime lineup. I just didn't particularly enjoy her or her method of broadcasting or her presence on the air. But then again, I'm not a huge Chris Hayes fan either. People are absolutely in love with him too. I don't particularly think he's a terribly good presenter. I think the most centrist program on the network is probably Ari Melber. I don't like him either. I don't know. I just can't. Yeah, Gambit's right. She's welcome to have a program here at GCPR. I'm sure we can afford her. Well, the way Thomas fills the swear jar, we can pay her out of the swear jar. Gambit will get that joke. And it wasn't the substance of the program. It wasn't the guests. It wasn't the themes. It wasn't it wasn't even the left lean. And Junquilla mentions in the chat that people loved her show. Damn right they did, and good for them. Good for them. There's hosts on the network that I enjoy that I'm sure you don't, and that's fine. That's why there are different kinds of hosts from different kinds of backgrounds. I happen to think Lawrence O'Donnell is really quite underrated. His opening rant at the beginning of every show is just, it's cutting, and it's forceful, and it's direct, and it's easy to understand, and it's the way the Democratic Party should be messaging itself, with a force and an anger and a fight back that the party has not shown. So I you know, and maybe, John Quay, maybe you don't like Lawrence O'Donnell at all. I didn't say I don't like Joy Reid, I just didn't fancy her program. I didn't fancy the way she presented it. I didn't like Andrea Mitchell either. I'm glad she resigned. Finally. But I happen to think the person who really deserves a program is Professor Jason Johnson, who was often a fill-in for Joy Reid. He's brilliant on the air. He's not just good. He's really good. Really, really good. And I think Ali Velshi should be taken off of weekends and given a weeknight slot, because there's not a man on the planet who is more comfortable on television and more authoritative than Ali Velshi, and as educated, by the way. So it is a matter of taste, but it is inescapable. It is undeniable that 3 of the really big sackings, if you will, have been women of color. And why am I forgetting Tiffany's name? She had a weekend program briefly, and I'm just blanking on her last name. And I could probably scroll and find it, but I will forget what the hell I was talking about if I find it. Tiffany Cross. Ah, blimey. How did I forget that? Tiffany Cross. So, believe me, it's inescapable. It's undeniable. It's inarguable that they have hired and then fired 3 eminently qualified, high-profile women of color from anchor roles, from hosting roles on the program. Or on the network. It's undeniable. The article actually that I posted about her sacking states that MSNBC is being spun off completely from NBC, from the larger NBC, and that it will not technically be connected to NBC News at all. That's news to me. I knew they were spinning it off into a different entity so that it's, which I took to be largely a bookkeeping adventure. These large corporations often do that. But I don't know what's happening there. Viewership has fallen off since the campaign, but then again, viewership at Fox has fallen off as well. CNN's has fallen off most of all. That's a normal course of action. But yeah, it does absolutely look like a mess over there. There's no question. Welcome Sherry and Sherry message in the chat. I don't know if that is for me, that message. Do I understand why they were fired, or why MSNBC is being spun off? I suspect that it's largely a financial decision to isolate it and to separate it from the larger corporation for if and or when Trump tries to take their license or sue them into bankruptcy, assuming that they don't pay a ransom to him the same way ABC did, CBS, the New York Times. You know, they all seem to be bending the knee. So Tea Time, that is not the most insightful commentary or breakdown on a situation. However, that's all I got. I don't know what they're doing over there. I truly don't. I still think there are people who have shows who shouldn't. There are people who do not have shows who should. And other folks who do have shows are kind of wasted in the time slots in which they are on the air. Again, I did not particularly fancy the way she presented her program, but the program itself was solid. She did not lie. She told the truth. She made insightful points. And being born, raised, and growing up in this country as a black woman with an excellent education, she comes from a place that I will never understand. Never understand. It was just more about her as a presenter from my personal point of view. I do think Professor, if you know who Jason Johnson is, he fills, and I think I have his name right, Jason Johnson. He fills in, did fill in for Joy quite a bit. He deserves a show. He's good, like really properly good. I'm very disappointed Alex Wagner was taken off the air. I happen to really enjoy Alex Wagner. I thought her presentation style was very good. But it does signal, it's troubling. It's troubling that ABC paid Trump a ransom. And that's essentially what it is. It'll be technically it's an out-of-court settlement. It's ransom. CBS paid ransom, especially when 60 Minutes released the entire transcript of the Kamala Harris interview that Trump was suing them over. There's nothing in there. The New York Times has bent the knee and paid a ransom. And that's really what these are. They're ransoms. And because they want to keep their license and they don't want to be harassed by the White House. And they don't want the staff and employees to be threatened online, to be killed, to be subjects of threats of violence. They don't want their buildings bombed. And that's the country that we're in now. And that's the country that 49.9% of the country, of the voting country, voted for. Will MSNBC survive? I suspect that it will. It will be a separate entity. It will be able to control. It will have to control its finances and control its losses a bit more. Comcast, I believe, is spinning it off to isolate it, to protect the rest of the Comcast corporation, and to protect the larger entities of NBC and Peacock, Comcast Cable itself, and Universal. It's NBC Universal, by the way, all owned by Comcast. So I think MSNBC is being spun off so that it can be isolated and put over here on the side, and that the cords can be cut between the two to protect it. Jonathan Capehart was sacked as well. So as he continues on PBS, which is interesting that he's still on TV. But anyway, so that might not be the most insightful analysis that you're ever going to hear, Tea Time, but I do find it mysterious. It does make it look like the channel is in trouble, even though I don't think it's in as big a trouble as people think it is. The viewership drop-off from the end of the campaign has been throughout cable news. All the cable news channels have seen a dip. They all have, because the campaign's over. CNN has, News Nation has, One America, Newsmax, Fox, they all did. They all saw drop-offs. So that in and of itself I don't think is I just think they're trying to spin it off to protect the larger corporation. But like I said, you are right. You mentioned 5 firings of folks of color within the last few days. It is unmistakable. You are correct. But I do think that's lumped in there. Them finally getting Andrea Mitchell to retire is part of this as well. It's cost cutting, but it's also a little bit of a backward way of bending the knee. Why are we not hearing about Morning Joe getting fired? Because they went to Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring. They bent the knee. If Rachel Maddow didn't have the viewership she has, she'd probably get sacked. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mess over there, and this is why you don't give in to the threats, man. You just don't give in to the threats. The free press, it's literally mentioned in the Constitution. I mean, not that Trump cares about the Constitution? But, 8:35, this is TKE Tonight for February 25th, 2025. I am your host and presenter, Jeff Kennedy. We are so glad that you are all with us again on this fine Tuesday. We will be with you again on Thursday, and honestly, I do not know if I will yet. I do not yet know. Grammar, Jeff, grammar. Try to do some grammar. I do not yet know if I will be with you on Sunday yet. Now, a couple of you mentioned in the chat, I have the breaking news here from Reuters, that the House Republicans passed the Trump budget, which raises the debt ceiling by $4 trillion and gives a $4.5 trillion tax cut to rich people and decimates Medicare by $880 billion. And that's the truth of it. By the way, if Musk was finding so much waste, fraud, and abuse, I wonder why you have to lift the debt ceiling by $4 trillion. Because rich people have to have a tax cut. Because, God, $400 billion just isn't enough. It's really hard. I don't know how Musk gets by. I don't know how he supports his 11 children. And God, what is it? It's 11 children with 9 different mothers, or is it 15 kids with 11 women? I don't. It's something like that. It's something very Old Testament. Let's put it that way. It's something very Old Testament. So you're watching us for the February the 25th. We are live on the Facebook pages of Our Revolution Pennsylvania, Hot101.net, Ghost Claw Productions, and the TCP Media Group. Our home group Facebook page is That Other Side of Information. We are live on our YouTube channel, also called That Other Side of Information right now, as well as the YouTube channel for Ghost Claw Productions Radio. The radio portion of the program blasting around the globe through Hot101.net. Our name is our web address. Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and the TuneIn Radio app. And, of course, you can tell Alexa to play Hot101.net. GCPR.live. www.gcpr.live is the website for Ghost Claw Productions Radio. You can listen there for free, as well as our Android app and an Apple app on the way. Following me on Hot101.net, the music returns. Following me on GCPR, Hurricane Girls from 9 p.m. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Well, I did say tomorrow morning, so I guess AM should have been. Anyway, let's get to the more depressing story, shall we say. Oh, no, wait. I opened the wrong article. Here we go. Nah. Let me do the sad article first. This is from the Associated Press. Headline: Nearly 40% of contracts canceled by Musk are expected to produce no savings. I have told you all a billion times. All of this supposed Department of Government efficiency, all of it it's never been about efficiency. It's never been about money. Well, it is about money, but it's never been about waste, fraud, and abuse. It's been about tax cuts for Elon Musk. They need to find $4.5 trillion somewhere. So they're going to take $2.5 trillion out of us. Put another $2 trillion on the credit card. Rich people get a $4.5 trillion tax cut. The rest of us starve, get sick, and die in the streets. You are going to see Hoovervilles across this country soon, filled with veterans and the elderly and children. So for all of the folks eligible to vote who stayed home on November 4th. Or maybe went to vote, but didn't vote for president because you didn't like Kamala Harris, but you didn't like Trump either. Congratulations. Sometimes you get the government you deserve. Wait for the Hoovervilles to start cropping up across this country. And keep in mind that a mere 45 years ago, when Ronald Reagan came to power, there was, for all intent and purpose, no unsheltered problem in this country. The unsheltered population was so tiny that it could be cared for, and it was almost unmeasurable. Now, tens of millions. And just wait, there's many, many more coming. And where do you go when you have to live outside? You go to a warmer climate. Get ready, Confederacy. They're coming to you. We're also going to go to places like Los Angeles, San Diego. Get ready. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. If you got to live outside, you kind of want to live somewhere you can stay warm. Get ready. Careful what you wish for. Again, from the Associated Press, this is an article posted today written by Ryan Foley. Again, the headline, nearly 40% of contracts canceled by Musk are expected to produce no savings. Let me look at the clock, make sure I'm not running out of time here. Nearly 40% of federal contracts that President Donald Trump's administration claims to have canceled as part of its signature cost-cutting program aren't expected to save the government any money. The administration's own data shows. The Department of Government Efficiency, run by Trump advisor Elon Musk, published an updated list Monday of nearly 2,300 contracts that agencies terminated in recent weeks across the federal government. Data published on DOGE's wall of receipts shows that more than one-third of all contract cancellations, 794 in all, are expected to yield no savings. That's usually because the total value of the contracts has already been fully obligated, which means the government has a legal requirement to spend the funds for the goods or services it purchased, and in many cases has already done so. It's like confiscating used ammunition after it's been shot when there's nothing left in it. It doesn't accomplish any policy objective, said Charles Tiefer, a retired University of Baltimore law professor and expert on government contracting law. They're terminating so many contracts pointlessly obviously doesn't accomplish anything for saving money. Administration officials said it made sense to cancel contracts that are seen as potential dead weight, even if the moves do not yield any savings. The official was not authorized to discuss the matter publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity because, of course, Trump could have you shot. The Trump administration says it's targeting fraud, waste, and abuse in the government. DOGE said Monday that its cost-cutting efforts have saved an estimated $65 billion, including canceling leases, grants, cutting employees, and selling assets. That figure has not independently been verified. I saw a story later today, after the posting of this article, that DOGE is claiming 55 to 65 billion in savings. The real accounting, somebody went through and did the numbers, and I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I want to say it was in New York Times. I might have that wrong. It could have been the Associated Press. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. It was one. I'm pretty sure it was one of the two. The real savings is more like $2.2 billion. Not 55 to 65 billion, but 2.2. Now, somebody handed me $2.2 billion, I'd be thrilled to take it. I'd take 10% of it. I'd take 1% of it. And Democrats, liberals, progressives, insert proper term here, insert whatever term you want to use, independents, non-affiliated, people who still think the Republican Party exists, it doesn't. Trumpers, MAGAs, fascists. Nobody wants to see waste, fraud, and abuse in government. No one does. DOGE is not about any of that. It is about punishing the middle class. It is about solidifying power to the billionaires and trying to justify another tax cut that by the time it runs its course will not be 4.5 trillion. It'll be between 6 and 8 trillion dollars. Remember the good old days when Republicans used to talk about debts and deficits and being fiscally responsible? They don't give a shit about any of that. American national debt will never be paid. In many respects, I can make an argument that it's not even a real number. It will never be paid. And billionaires are certainly going to do everything in their power to make sure they're the ones that don't pay it. This is all about money. It's about the rich controlling everything. And yes, I know it's a very heavily race-laden analogy. It's about them putting their boots on our throats. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They've put their boots on, and they're putting the heels of those boots on our throats. How much more will we take? Let me return to the article. Some of the contracts canceled were for research studies that have been awarded, training that has taken place, software that has been purchased, and interns who have come and gone. Dozens of them were already paid subscriptions to the Associated Press, Politico, and other media services. So, that's the part that's depressing. Let me now offer you kind of under the same umbrella, an article that I hope will give you a little hope. This is from the Canadian Broadcasting Company, CBC. Headline: Musk's DOGE team hit by resignation of 21 technology staffers. Those resigning say the DOGE team is jeopardizing confidential data of Americans. Posted today. I think they actually took it from the Associated Press, but regardless, I posted it from the CBC, so I'll give the CBC some credit. By the way, if you find yourself in an argument with maggots about the press in this country, don't be afraid to let them know there's foreign press. The Canadian Broadcasting Company, CBC, the BBC, which must be unbiased by law, NHK from Japan. There are foreign sources of news, an outside look from outside this country back in, with no bias, because they don't have anything to win or lose. They simply report the news. More than 20 civil service employees resigned Tuesday from Elon Musk's DOGE, saying they were refusing to use their technical expertise to, quote, dismantle critical public services, unquote. Quote, we swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations, the 21 staffers wrote in a joint resignation letter, a copy of which was obtained by the Associated Press. Quote, however, it has become clear that we can no longer honor those commitments. They spelled honor with a U, the way you're supposed to. The employees also warned that many of those enlisted by Musk to help him slash the size of the federal government under Trump were political ideologues who did not have the necessary skills or experience for the task ahead of them. The mass resignation of engineers, data scientists, and product managers comes amid a flurry of court challenges to the purge of the federal workforce led by Musk and Trump. Notice the article lists Musk first, the Prime Minister listed before the President. Purges that have sought to stall, stop, unwind efforts to fire or coerce thousands of government workers out of jobs. Quote, "We will not use our skills as technologists to compromise core government systems, jeopardize Americans' sensitive data, or dismantle critical public services," they wrote. The White House did not immediately respond for comment. I find this to be a bit of a source of hope, to be honest. Certainly doesn't cure the problem, doesn't won't put an end to it, but it is a sense of hope that the resistance is underway. And there's two R words that we've begun to throw around on this program a lot: revolution and resistance. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you call it cotton candy. But the fact is, and if you go on YouTube, by the way, just put in the search tool congressional town halls, and you're going to see that the very, very few MAGA members of Congress who have the stones to have in-person town halls are being savaged, and not just by the registered Democrats in their district, but by their own voters. People who supported them and voted for them, who are coming out and talking to these people saying, this is crazy, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, and you have to stop it. So the resistance is fully underway. And one of the ironies, I guess you would say, is that it's being driven by social media. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, yes, even Twitter, and Blue Sky. By the way, I am on Blue Sky. You can find me there. So, the resistance is underway. I would not call it revolution. Revolution has a war connotation to it. I believe that this resistance revolution, if you want to use that term, can be, should be, must be completely 100% peaceful. It doesn't mean that violence will not be put upon us, but we cannot instigate it. We have to be above it. That doesn't mean we can't be forceful. Doesn't mean we can't get in some people's faces. Doesn't mean we can tell people, you did this. You deserve this. Doesn't mean we can't throw a little shade at the folks who stayed home and didn't vote. Or communities like the supporters of the Palestinians who said Vice President Harris didn't do enough to help them. Of course, Trump's now going to forcibly remove them all. Sometimes you get what you voted for. All of that has to be part of this resistance and revolution. But it must be peaceful. Violence will be put upon us. The more we protest, the more we march, and the bigger they get, violence will be put upon us. And it will be a test. But this resistance can succeed, and it can do so peacefully. Everything rides on 2026. I do believe there will be congressional elections in 2026. I believe in many red states they will be rigged elections. Yes, I borrowed a Trumpian term. Because they continue to purge. They've purged nearly 5 million voters from the voter rolls nationwide, with large percentages of that 5 million being in Texas and Florida. and Georgia. They continue to do it. If we have any hope of restoring democracy, because it's all been taken from us. We're fascists now. We're a fascist nation now. Foreign governments list us as fascists now. If we hope to return to democracy, not save it, but return to it and restore it, the congressional cycle means everything. And you can get your muscles warmed up by voting in 2025. School board elections, municipal elections, county elections. It's not hard. It only takes a couple minutes. This is from Professor Robert Reich, the former labor secretary under Bill Clinton. Republicans are pulling a reverse Robin Hood. The House could vote in its new budget resolution as soon as tomorrow. They voted on it and passed it tonight. You can still call your representatives and tell them what you think. Even though they already had the vote, you can still call them and tell them. The congressional switchboard number is 202-224-3121. If you don't know who your rep is, give them your zip code and they will put you to their office. Believe me, these elected officials record every call. And I don't mean they literally record it. They have a form that an intern or office staffer fills out with every single phone call, and they look at it. Don't ever think they don't. They do. They might ignore you, insofar as 90+% of the calls are like, don't you dare cut taxes on billionaires. And they'll vote for it anyway, because the billionaires paid them more than you're paying them. But they record those calls. They keep those records. We can't sit out 2026. So the tax proposal that was passed tonight in the House, we'll have to see what happens in the Senate. They will try to pass it by reconciliation. I suspect they will get it through. But you never know. Mitch McConnell seems to have found God in the last couple months. You know, the old joke that he's an old man and he's going to die soon and he would rather go to heaven, so now he's turning a new leaf. But we'll see. $4.5 trillion in tax cuts that overwhelmingly go to the top 1% and the largest corporations. And again, if you extrapolate that out with the rate of inflation over the length of this tax cut bill, that total, that real dollar total, what are we, 858? That real dollar total, blah, will be between 6 and 8 trillion. It guts Medicaid and SNAP up to $2 trillion. Because after all, those damn needy kids who just want to eat, how dare they? Gosh. They don't want to die of starvation. How damn selfish of them. How selfish of those children who do not want to die of starvation so Elon Musk can get $1 billion tax cut. Actually, given his wealth, his tax cut will mean tens of billions of dollars to him. Because $400 billion just isn't enough. And it will add $3 trillion to the national debt. I think, again, that's a small number. I think by the time, again, you extrapolate out inflation and real dollar values, by the time this bill would come to an end, would time out or expire, I think you're looking at maybe $5 trillion or more. 8:59, we have to wrap up. We will return Thursday from 8 p.m. Still not sure about Sunday quite yet. We'll tell you then. I was going to say about the show that we're planning for March 23rd, but I'll hold that back a little bit. For everyone at hot101.net, DJ Lex, DJ Earl, thank you for allowing us to be on the air with you yet again. We will see you on Thursday. The music resumes right now. For everyone at GCPR, Thomas, Gilbert, Gambit, and thank you, Gambit, for being in here tonight. Gretchen, Solid Blue Sister, everybody at GCPR. Hurricane Girls starts right now. We'll see you Thursday. Have a great night, everybody. We will return Thursday from 8 p.m. here on these video simulcasting social media channels. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you